favorite beers. You know, we're making this video because I watched so many YouTube videos and figure it's time to give back. And so we're gonna go through the whole brewing process today. We're gonna start. First thing we do, we're gonna roast 4.5 pounds of pumpkin. And it's very important to get pumpkin. If you're gonna use canned pumpkin, then you wanna use 100% pure, au natural, no preservatives. And it's very important because you don't want to get the one that the pumpkin pie mix, because it got a bunch of other stuff we don't want. So we're gonna start with 100%. So I already weigh out 4.5 pounds of pumpkin, and then we're gonna add a half pound of sugar, and we're gonna put it on top, and that's just to caramelize it. You know, it's probably not gonna matter at the end because the sugar is gonna get fermented out, but at the beginning it gives it like the nice caramelized flavoring with the pumpkin. It just smells awesome. And bring my assistant Jenna Rose, and she's usually the one who does the pumpkin, roast the pumpkin. So you know, watch her go through the whole process and show you guys.
Sure. So I'm going to start by putting the pumpkin into the casserole, and then I'm going to put the brown sugar on top before I put it into the oven. We're preheating it right now. We're going to get it about 350. So like what Javier said, we're going to put the pumpkin in, put the brown sugar on top, and caramelize it to get that deep brown sugar flavor.
I'm going to put it in the oven for 1 hour. But it's also important not to just put it in there and forget about it, because everybody's ovens are different. So in your oven it might take a little bit less, you know, all that kind of stuff. So put a timer for 1 hour, and then I'll come and take it like in 20 minutes.
Hey guys, so we're at the halfway point of baking the pumpkin with the brown sugar. So I kind of check it periodically, just because like what Javier said earlier, different ovens heat up differently. So as you can see, like in the middle part, it's starting to get really dark brown, starting to caramelize. That's what I'm looking for the entire casserole of pumpkin. And then when that's done, I'm going to pull it out and mix it up. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So 30 minutes more to go, guys. Hey guys, so we're at the 1 hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and check on the pumpkin. As you can see, we're going to go ahead and pull it out so we can get a better look. I'm just going to help me out with that. Alright, so it's been an hour, and this is what the pumpkin and the brown sugar look like. You can see that the edges are getting really roasty, which is kind of what we're going for. The brown sugar is caramelized a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up, and then we're going to put it back into the oven for another 15 minutes just to get more roastiness out of the brown sugar and the pumpkin. So I'm going to do that right now. If I can find a spoon. Okay. So let's do that. So nothing fancy. We're just mixing it in. It's really hot, so be careful if you're going to be trying this at home. And as I'm mixing it, I can feel that the brown sugar is kind of crispy, and that's kind of what we want too, because that means it's getting caramelized and candied. And we feel like that gives the beer in the end a roasted pumpkin pie flavor, which adds kind of some depth to the flavor of the beer. That's just what we found with experimentation. So I'm just going to flatten it back out again. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to put it back in to the oven, same 350 degrees. And we're going to put it back into the oven right now. Javi, you can help me out with that. And put the timer on for 15 more minutes. We'll pull it back out again.
And man, this smells delicious.
It smells
really
like
good.
Pumpkin pie.
So the timer for 15 minutes, and we'll come back. Alright, so now we're putting our mash water. Actually, we're putting the whole water. Everything that we're gonna use for the whole process, including my mash and my sparge. And the reason I collect all the water, because I run it through this carbon filter, block carbon filters. So a little bit different, it's got a block. And you want to run it slow. You don't want to run it really quick, because what filters out the chlorines is the contact time with the carbon, and it gets rid of the chlorine. But Tracy water, I live in Tracy, California, also has chloramines, so it doesn't really help with the chloramines, but it's alright. I'm gonna add a quarter of a Camden tablet per 5 gallons, and I will be adding that once we get all the water in there. I'm gonna mix it up. So, but it's very important, like in a good flow, that worked for me. It's flow rate right there. That's decent. And I've read on the forums that some guys even do a lot slower than that. But since I'm adding the Camden tablets to it, it's alright. It's not a big deal. I haven't tasted any chloramines, any off flavors with the beer. Doing it that way with the carbon filter and with the Camden tablet. And I like to put it all in here because I'm gonna add my calcium sulfate, my calcium chloride in here, and the Camden tablet. Mix it all together so all the brewing water has a good amount of calcium and sulfates and chloride. All right, so now I'm gonna have my salt. I'm gonna weigh my salt, and I'm using calcium chloride because my water is not very high on calcium. It's actually like 4 milligrams per liter, so that's really low. And you need a minimum of 50 milligrams per liter of calcium in your water. And the calcium in your water, that helps the yeast and helps the yeast flocculate a lot better during fermentation after they're done fermenting. But it also helps with the enzymes during mash conversion. And the calcium chloride, so I'm using both. I'm using calcium chloride and Gibson. Calcium chloride gives you multi flavor on the beer. Not flavor, but like a taste. The beer tastes a lot more malty. And Gibson is more for like hoppiness. So what I'm doing a ratio. I'm using 4 grams of calcium chloride and 3 grams of Gibson, and just like give it like a mixture. 1-on-1 gives you like a balanced beer. More Gibson, more bitter, more happiness. More calcium chloride, more malty. But I like to go for a balanced beer. I'm not a big fan of too malty or too bitter. I like really balanced beers. So that's what we're doing. Measuring out 4 grams of calcium chloride. So we got 4 grams right there. I'm gonna tare it and add 3 grams of Gibson. we're adding my salts, the calcium chloride, and the calcium sulfate, which is also known as Gibson. We're almost done collecting the water that we need. We're collecting about 9.5 gallons of water. Gonna mix it up really good. I'm also gonna add the quarter tablet of the cups of the Camden tablet. You wanna squish it and like break it down so it's a lot easier to mix. And that's gonna help get rid of the chlorines and chloramines. Give it a good mix. And give it a good mix, and since we're almost done, we're about to transfer this water, pump it from this into the boil kettle and heat it up to, or I have to look at my software to remember what temperature I'm looking for, but usually you're gonna heat it up to about 170 degrees for mash. Alright, so now I'm here with my lovely assistant Marlene. So now we're gonna be grilling the grains. I just got this. This is my second time using it. I've used it once, and the reason I got it is because when I go to the homebrew shop or go the weekend before I'm gonna brew, and I crush my grains over there, and sometimes it varies. So I decided to get the grains, the meal, because I'll come home, put the crushed grains in my house, and the whole house smells like crushed grains. And you let it, all those volatiles going out, the grains are not as fresh as I want it to be. So I got this on homebrewing.org, the cereal grain killer, and it's pretty awesome. I used it last time to brew a pale, and my efficiency went up to 80%. The crush was awesome, so no complaints about it. And I'm using a Craftsman drill. I tried to use them by hand, and man, that was a pain. It was like my arm was sore after that. It's possible to do it by hand, but if you got a drill, why use your hands, right? And the gap on my rollers is set about 0.04. So the gap's not too much. I think it's perfect for me right now. It's my second time, so I'm gonna try it out again. I'm gonna pour some to start with. And then the hopper only holds about 7 pounds, so I need somebody to help me keep pouring the grains as we went through. That's Marlene's gonna help me out. I got the bucket to the leg and the bottom. So we're gonna start. And you don't wanna do it too fast, you wanna do it kinda slow. Like people say, about 250, 200 to 300 RPM is what you want. So I'm gonna try to control this to not be too much. And at this point I'm gonna stop and wanna double check my crush. Let's get a look at it. See right here, this is a good crush for me. This worked last time. It's good. It's not too much. It's not powder, and the house it's a good crush. So I'm happy with it. So that's what we're gonna go with. So very, very important. We're gonna also use half a pound of race hulls, and this is to help with mashing out, because the pumpkin's gummy, it makes it really hard to sparge. A lot of people say if you don't use rice hulls, they get stuck sparge. I always use them because I read it way before I did it, so I never had a problem. And since I don't get stuck sparge using this, I'm gonna keep on using it because I don't want to experience that stuck sparge. So So just put it in with the grain. And I haven't mentioned what my grain bill is. We're gonna post that later on in the video, in the comments or notes of the video. That's where you can find the whole recipe for it. We're gonna post it there. So if somebody wants to do it or something. Gonna give it a good mix. Wanna mix it with the grains. Once we mix it, the water is ready to go. So we're gonna start the mash, mix it in, and we'll be ready to go. All right, so now we're gonna mash in. We got the grains mixed in with the rice husk, and we're gonna mix it very slowly, not to get any dough balls. And so as he's pouring in, I'm gonna be mixing it in there very slowly. Or strike water is at 170, and we're gonna mash at 154. So yeah, let's do this. Alright, so we're gonna stop at this point. We're not done putting all the grains, but I wanna put in the pumpkin. Just want it to be like a grain bed. Alright, bring in the pumpkin. Yeah, put it right there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's fine.
You want me to hold it?
Yeah, hold it. And when you put it in, because you put it in like this chunk, make sure you I like to press it against the wall of the mush stand to kind of like break it apart. Break it so the enzymes get to it and convert it. Because that's what mashing it's all about. It's converting the starches into sugars. That's the whole point of it. We're done putting in the grains. For temperature, it's reading 150. It's reading 150, so it came down a few degrees during this part. Very important is to like move your thermometer and get like several readings to give you a good to give you like a few samples, because some parts are hotter than others. Even if you mix it a lot, if you move the thermometer, it still like gives you different readings. So now it's reading 152. So I like to move it around in different spots to get a more kind of like, it's more of to get the average of the whole mush stand. So it's set at 152. So I'm gonna call this my mash temperature 152. I was aiming for 154, but we don't have to be perfect. 152 is fine, I'll take it. So I like to put a piece of foil on top, just to reduce that headspace so heat doesn't, come out. And the bigger the headspace, the more heat you lose. So the foil helps reduce the headspace and keep temperature at constant. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes for the whole thing to equilibrate. And then I'm gonna take a pH reading, and then we were looking for a pH of 5.2 to 5.4. So give it a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna take a pH reading, and we'll see where we're at, if I need to add acid or not. I took a sample, cooled it in water. When you take the pH, you want to do it at room temperature. That range between 5.2 and 5.6 at room temperature. So it's reading 5.3. I have one of these kind of cheap Amazon pH meters. It calibrates fine. I've had it for a few months, so it works fine. Gets the job done. So 5.3, we're at that range, which is like really good. So we're not gonna add any acid to the mash. We're just gonna let it rest for 90 minutes. For this beer, I like to give it a 90-minute rest, just to make sure all those starches from the pumpkin get converted. Alright, so it's been 90 minutes. for our mash. So now we're gonna wort off. And wort off with that, just a fancy word for saying we're gonna recirculate the mash. So what we're gonna be doing, I'm gonna recirculate about 2 quarts. So we'll be doing that for now. And it takes about, see, like all that water right there now, it's coming out, all those grains stuff. We want to make a filter, like a grain filter bed. So we want to recirculate into a circle, coming out clear, until we don't get all those pieces of grains that are coming out. So we want to make it like a bed. The wort coming out now, it's a lot clearer. Like, it doesn't look cloudy or hazy, it looks clear. I don't see like a lot of grains coming out. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there. So I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna take a pre-boil gravity. Well, not a pre-boil gravity actually. It's more of my first runnings gravity. The pre-boil gravity, I like to take it once I start boiling. I know it's pre-boil gravity, but I do it after it starts boiling. And that's because what I found out from trial and error, that like if you take your pre-boil gravity before it starts boiling, like not everything is mixed. But if you wait till it starts boiling, then everything is mixed, and then you get a good reading. And then if my gravity is a little bit less than what I'm shooting for, I'll add some DME. If it's good, if it's right where it's supposed to be, then just leave it. And then lately, I've been adjusting my recipes because with the grain meal, my efficiency has gone up. So I need to start adjusting to that. But now I'm gonna hook up the hoses and pump from here to there. I'll be setting that up right now.